out there. It's Thursday, 17th of August 2023. We're eastbound on Route 2, east of Escanaba. Traveling along Lake Michigan. We can't see it at the moment, but I know it's close. 67 degrees outside and cloudy. Yesterday we had quite a little hiccup, I guess a good way to call it. We pulled into a gas stop just west of, where were we west of, Vicky?
I can't think either. The town it was.
Anyhow, pulled into a gas stop, shut the truck off, put 22 gallon of diesel in it, went to start it, and nothing. When I say nothing, that's not correct. It cranked and cranked and cranked, and didn't try to start. So I know that this engine needs oil pressure before it turns the fuel pump on. So I checked it, it was a little low. I put a quart oil in it. That didn't help. I tried calling Tommy Hassler of Hassler Diesel, and they evidently were busy. I left a message there, called 2 local diesel shops in and around where we were, and neither of them could help me. So I tried calling Diesel Works in Landisville, Pennsylvania, and while I was trying to call them, Tommy Hassler called me back, and I took his call. And he said that he asked me if I had a monitor in the truck, and I do. It was installed by him, and he had me bring up the ICP, which I believe is an injector control pressure, and had me turn the truck over, and it only had about 250, and he said there's a problem. We need 500. Probably the fuel pump's starting to go bad. So he instructed me that the best way to maybe get around this is get a can of starting fluid and spray it a little bit in the intake while Vicky was cranking it. I went in the station, which was more like a convenience store than it was a service station, and they didn't have any for sale there. I went to the counter and asked the clerk if he knew of a close auto body shop that I could maybe have delivered to me a can of starting fluid. And I went back outside, and there was an older gentleman that heard my conversation there. In the meantime, I called one auto parts shop, and asked them if they would possibly deliver a can of starting fluid, and they laughed and hung up the phone. And about that time, this gentleman showed up at the truck, which was still at the fuel island, and said, asked me what I needed, and I told him, and he said, I'll go get it. And I went to hand him some money, and he said, no, that's not needed. But I should interrupt, and while I was doing all my stuff, Vicky, would you want to tell what you did?
I prayed at first, and then I talked to my daughter, who was at Barely Used, and we are called Bub Girls. We work at Barely Used, and I asked her to ask my Bub Girl sisters to and her to pray. So they prayed, and I called my pastor, Pastor Jeff, and he prayed with me on the phone. So that was all that I did. Was I got a prayer group around our truck and asked God to heal our truck or help us to do what we needed to do.
And that was all taking place while I was doing everything else before I talked to Tommy. So this gentleman went and got a can of starting fluid, and I called Tommy back to make sure I knew where to put it in the truck, because it has a pretty big air filter. And he said no, I should bypass the air filter, which I did when the man got back. And the other instruction was he said, have Vicky turn the truck over while I give it a couple, 3 squirts of sprays of starting fluid, and whatever Vicky does, don't stop cranking. So she did that. She did exactly as she was told. I think I gave it a little bit too much starting fluid, and after a bit it started. He said, whatever you do, don't turn it off. So I thanked this gentleman, went to get a $20 bill out of my wallet to hand to him. He said, nope, won't take it. I said, are you sure? Come on, let me pay you for this. He said, nope, I'm glad to do it. I stuck out my hand, shook his hand, said, thank you very much, and God bless you. And he turned and got in his car and left. Called Tommy back, and Tommy said, whatever you do, don't shut that truck off today. But he said, I think you can make it back to Pennsylvania. He believes the fuel pump is bad, and that he believes it will start in the morning when it was cold. So we went to our campground in Ironwood, Michigan, and it did start this morning. And we're still traveling. I did my last fuel stop. I pulled in, and without even thinking, turned the truck off. Immediately went to start it, and it started right back up. And we thank the Lord for that blessing too. So that's been our hiccup. Right now we're traveling eastbound, going to St. Ignatius, Michigan, and a campground, and got plans for the weekend.